Nearing the end of 2023, I could not believe that we were blessed with such an interesting game. But what makes Lethal Company so fun? And is there anything the game can improve on? All questions will be answered. But before we get into that, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. We're so close to 700 subscribers. Now let's jump straight into the video. Lethal Company just came out on Steam, and it's marked as early access for now, meaning the game has a long way to go before it's fully complete. But don't let the term early access fool you. Lethal Company is not an unfinished mess and proves to me and a lot of other gamers that just like Valheim, a really good early access game can revolutionize the industry. Starting with the first question, what makes Lethal Company so fun? There's a lot of different aspects of the game that people are drawn to. However, in my opinion, it's the gameplay loot. All you have to do is use the terminal to fly to different moons and gather loot. Simple enough, right? If you're trying to think of a game similar to Lethal Company, I would say it's a lot like if Phasmophobia had a baby with those SCP games. You can buy equipment to make each round easier, but your end goal is to go into the complex, gather trash, and turn it into the company building for money. With that money, you're allowed to buy more equipment and higher level maps in order to reach higher quotas. What is a quota? In Lethal Company, your quota is a set value that increases every 3 days. In order to reach that amount, you must take your loot to the company building and sell it, like I mentioned earlier. But you can't just do that whenever. You see, the company building doesn't purchase goods at full value all the time. They only purchase at 100% when you reach your deadline. Just like the van in Phasmophobia, the ship serves as your base of operations. By accessing the terminal, you have to type words into the system in order to navigate the menus. You can check the store, ask for help, go to moons, look at the Bestiary, and even control the monitor. In addition to the terminal, there's the monitor. You can switch perspectives between players to make sure they're doing alright. However, the monitor only shows a 2D top-down map, meaning you only have so much information to work with. Different red dots can appear on the monitor indicating different enemy types. If a squad member passes by some loot on the ground, it will appear as a yellowish green triangle. One of the most interesting things about the monitor is that it doesn't indicate whether or not a person is dead or alive, meaning that if you're running out of time and your buddy ain't responding, sorry chief, we ditching you. It can be pretty easy to tell if someone's dead after playing for a while, but in those rare cases where they do go AFK or are stuck, they might have to be left for dead. In addition to everything else, there's a bunch of cool little props that you can move around to make your ship ever so perfect. Beds, drawers, and even the terminal itself can be moved. There's a red bin for storing equipment and a battery charger on the wall to fill up any dead equipment. If you save enough money, you can purchase special ship upgrades from the shop. Among those items is a teleporter. This item acts as you would think. It teleports things, but more specifically, people. If someone is in trouble or needs a quick exfil, then press that red button and get them out of there. Although, the teleporter comes at a cost. Any items a person is carrying will be left behind, so make sure you use it only when needed. Most of the time, you'll only end up using the teleporter to retrieve dead bodies from the complex. For those of you wondering why dead bodies are important, it's because if they're left behind, a percentage of money gets taken away from your stash. Early on, this won't matter as much because you'll only lose like $5, but later on in the game when you have hundreds or thousands of dollars, you don't want to be losing 20% of that, let me just tell you. Communication in Lethal Company is key to your success. Sure, you could send a Discord call with all your buddies and speak to each other without any barriers, but the game is meant to be played with the in-game voice chat. It utilizes proximity, so as your friends are getting ripped limb from limb, you can hear those screams all the way down the hall. Oh shit!
He's dead.
What happened?
He got, I don't know, something took him.
Walkie-talkies are another very important tool. Purchasing them can make team communication smoother and a lot less risky. In higher quotas, I will usually have one person stay behind in the ship to monitor everybody else, and by using the walkie-talkies, that person can convey important info back to the team, such as enemies, loot location, and rooms. You will have a hard time getting into a lobby with people that don't use mics, because you're at a severe disadvantage without it. You got a dot on you. What was that, Eli?
Over here.
I think in my 20 or so hours of playing, I haven't joined a single lobby where not even one person wasn't talking. Now let's discuss AI and enemy design. Not the most revolutionary system, but the AI in Lethal Company is pretty good. Of course, different creatures have different AI, but they're all unique and work as intended. I've maybe seen 1 or 2 glitches with AI, but it's not at all an issue. In order to be well equipped for your next drop, let me give you a rundown of the most common and important creatures you may come across while inside the complex. For the more astute viewers, you might have realized that a lot of the creatures are similar or near carbon copies of SCPs. The first creature you'll likely find within the complex are loot bugs. They do what you might assume already, but they like to run around and take loot from unsuspecting adventurers. Getting too close can anger them and will cause them to aggro onto you, in which they lift off the ground and fly towards you in the air. Running away and turning corners will eventually get them to forget about you, but most of the time these guys are pretty cute and cuddly, just keep your distance. Where you'll find the loot bug, you'll also tend to find the blob. The blob is a blue jello-like creature that oozes across the floor towards the player. Once it detects a player, it will not stop following them. However, they're slow and easily outmaneuvered by well-timed jumps or hopping onto railings. Eyeless dogs are another creature that you'll find, but instead of spawning inside the complex, they spawn on the outside. They are extremely hostile and will kill you quickly. At around 5 or 6 PM is when they tend to spawn on most maps, so make sure to get back to the ship before that time. Best way to deal with them is to crouch walk and you'll be safe. Just don't drop any loot or touch them directly and you'll pretty much be okay. Spiders are another very common creature that you'll find within the complex too, and they act just like any extremely large spider would act. They crawl on walls, make webs, try to trap you, and will kill you in about 2 or 3 hits. Avoid it if you can, but they can't really be outran. You have to sort of lose them by going over jumps or leaving the complex itself. That's all for the mobs I'll explain for first timers, but there's a lot of other creatures that I did not mention, like forest guardians, coilheads, brackens, and jesters. But part of the fun is finding out what they do by yourself. If you're wondering how to find out more about these creatures, all you have to do is look at them and right click. This will add them to your ship's bestiary, giving the player a small bit of information. This is called scanning. Scanning is another useful tool that the player can use at all times to detect the main entrance, find the ship, figure out the value of items, and as mentioned earlier, scan creatures. The best way to play Lethal Company is with 3 buddies using in-game voice chat.
What is that noise?
Eli.
This way, come this way.
Oh.
This is the dead end. We have to go that way.
Hello, where are you guys?
Hide, hide, hide.
No.
Oh, we're dead. So many hours of fun and I feel like I barely experienced the game. So many things to learn and mechanics to master, I see this game festering a cult-like following. There isn't an incredible amount of story/lore within the game, but it's definitely there. You can pick up forgotten log files and by using the terminal, you can access them. Not only does this method of storytelling force the player to explore, but it doesn't require you to understand the story in order to have fun with the gameplay. You could go without ever virtually knowing anything about the game and have endless hours of fun. Only until recently, after 20-ish hours of gameplay, have I started picking up logs. So let that stand as a testament just how approachable the game is. This is the part of the video where I point out some personal gripes that I have with the game. There are little if any problems that I have with the game, but one thing that comes to mind is repetitiveness. Dropping into the same maps, getting the same loot, losing them, starting off again, just to be where you were. Now I don't see this being a big issue because honestly the game just came out and the developer is already working on more content, so in about a month or so, this issue will be completely irrelevant to seasoned players like me. The second thing that they should improve on is the enemy spawns and variety. But similarly to my last complaint, this will most likely get fixed in the coming weeks. Now that's a small list of complaints for a game that could have been such an easy flop, but the developer must be proud because Lethal Company has a consistent 70 to 100,000 player count. Reaching number 5 on Steam yesterday was crazy. If you're still on the fence about purchasing this game, hopefully I was able to persuade you into buying this beyond goated game. And for only $9.99 USD, that's a crazy lot of fun for that asking price. How do you guys feel about the game? Let me know down in the comments below, but if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out in the algorithm, and I'll catch you in the complex. Peace.